Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. My name is Starrapter, and welcome back to the channel. It's time to review two Star Wars comics that came out this week. We have one from Dark Horse, one from Marvel. But before we get started, if you haven't already, do subscribe to this channel. It is the easiest way to support me here. Now, getting into it, we have from Dark Horse quite a long time since we got the first issue of this story. This is Hyperspace Stories, Tides of Terror, issue number 2. This one's Evacuation. It's written by George Mann with artwork by Louis Morocho. And in this issue, it is basically Jaws attacks, get the people out of the underwater station to safety. That is the crux of this issue. We have Kit Fisto and his Padawan Nadar. We also have Shaak Ti and Mace WIndu that went to this facility to kind of mediate things. And, well, not everything goes according to plan because, as we've seen in the last issue, apparently there was some tampering going on with the defenses of this station, some saboteur, as we see in this issue. There is a saboteur, and that is where we're getting the crux. The danger is involved with these creatures called the Xorfin, and these are very dangerous. Think of like a megalodon-sized creature in our world from, millions of years ago, whenever those things existed. Well, they exist in this world, on this planet. So this issue is all about evacuating. The Carcadas are cool. We have Nadar force, pushing them away. There's not to write home a lot about. There's not a lot to write home about this issue. I'll be honest. It's very action heavy. It's just, okay, this character is rescuing this character, and we're just getting people to safety on submarines and things like that. So, it's an enjoyable issue, but there's not much here to really chew on. No pun intended on that one. Getting into our next comic here, we have from Marvel, Hunt for the Falcon, Part 2. This one's written by Rodney Barnes with artwork by Ramon Rosales. And in this entire crux of this miniseries is Han is trying to get the Falcon back. As we see in The Force Awakens, he didn't have the Falcon. So what is the story behind that? We are peeling away the layers of that storyline, which is really interesting because I really enjoyed issue number 1. So issue number 2, him and Chewie are back at it again. And man, this is the best thing about this issue, is that this pair works so well at any age of their relationship here, of their brotherly relationship. They're right back in the saddle again. We have them in multiple blaster fights and brawls and whatnot. Chewie's got Han's back. It's great to see. So they're trying to get the Falcon. They run into Ducain, who was the one that stole it from them. And now he is kind of throwing them under the bus as he orders these officers at this sabacc deal with these Xorfin boys. And all heck breaks loose. And it's really up to them to get out of there and find another transport out. So the hunt is still on. The hunt is very much still on. They have not caught sight of the Falcon, but they're hot on the heels of the trail of figuring out where this thing actually went. Some notable points of this is there's a meta moment here when Han Solo seems to be talking to himself a lot because, well, Chewie doesn't speak basic. So we're seeing a lot of different greatly lettered boxes of him roaring and whatnot. And Han's just like, hey, I like to say things out loud because it helps me think or something like that. So I thought that was fun about the meta message there. There's also a really good laugh out loud moment when Han is at the table playing sabacc against the Irving boys, and these officers get, tipped by Ducain, and they approach Han and say, hands up, and they're actually two pretty attractive female officers, and Han's reply is, you could have at least bought me a drink. I'm like, that's just great. That's just great. Han Solo having a deal in that way, right? At this point, he's separated from Leia, so he can make little flirtatious things back and forth at this point of his life, which is interesting. And speaking of Leia, we get a nice little flashback of Han thinking back to the good old days of him, Leia, and Ben on the Millennium Falcon, and Han is really appearing to be a good father at this point, helping Ben learn the ways of the cockpit buttons and functionality of the Falcon. And I also thought it was really cool to see Leia and her getup. It really reminded me of a lot of the Rey outfit from The Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. Again, a lot of action, a lot of heavy action, but I'm expecting good things for the next one. For more on Star Wars comics, well, you're already in the right place. As I mentioned off the top of the hour here, at the top of the episode, I here at this channel go through and comment and discuss these comics on a weekly basis. So if you are new to the channel, welcome, and do subscribe. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out the podcast. We do a podcast here called Outer Rim Transmission, where we also discuss the latest news and whatnot in Star Wars. And finally, last but not least, New York Comic Con is starting tomorrow. There's some Star Wars stuff happening, especially if you're a fan of the comics and the books. There is going to be a panel on Saturday, so look out for news incoming, hopefully for a new announcement, maybe of a book, maybe of a comic. That's usually what they do at the very least. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.